Have you ever been going down the road and see one of those cool cars that, heck, you want to be just like them? Hey, welcome to this edition of Road Warrior. I'm your host, Grant Roberson. Now, this week, we actually get with the cool kids and get behind the wheel of the 2016 Hyundai Veloster. What two things make you run with the cool kids? First, a hatchback-like styling and a nice spoiler to boot. Heck, back when I was in high school, the Honda Civic was the craze. Now, looking at the silhouette, what you're going to find is a little bit of chiseled and curvaceousness. Now, right here at the haunches, a little bit of curve, but it's really perfected with a nice hard edge line. Now, those hard edge lines all the way around this vehicle, sculpting it to its perfection. Now, what you're also going to notice is really this elongated hatchback. It sweeps all the way down the vehicle and really gives it its true styling. Now, from the driver's side, this has a coupe-like feel, really the two-door styling. But what you're going to find on the other side is a third door, kind of a surprise. Now, looking at the finish, instead of a glossy exterior, what we're going to see here is a newer craze, that matte finish. Usually a typical aftermarket-like effect right here from the manufacturer. Looking at the four corners, because that's just as important as the profile. Now, what you're sitting on here is two 25/40s on 18-inch wheels. Now, the 18-inch wheels are standard on the Rally Edition. Otherwise, you get a 17-inch version. Now, one thing to note about the color, it is standard when it comes to the Rally Edition. There are no other choices. Last thing to talk about is ground clearance, running just under 6 inches. And what I do like is that kind of nice carbon fiber accent, and again, a little bit more chisel in the lower portion. One thing I like to look at with my 6-foot frame is, well, heck, can it fit in the side? Now, looking at the exterior numbers, it's going to run about 166 inches overall. Wheelbase around about 104. Now, as for the width, just under 6 feet and round about 4.5 feet tall. Now, what all that means is it makes it just kind of a bending kind of episode to climb inside. Now, as for the rear tread width, it's going to be about a 1/2 inch wider than the front. Overall, typical rally type numbers. A silhouette on a vehicle is very important, but the first thing people are going to see is the grille warfare. Now, this grille right up here is going to look a lot like the competition. One model specifically are Lexus. Now, they have a huge grille on some of their SUVs, and that's what you see here. Now, it kind of has a pentagon-like shape and very massive, adorned in black. Now, this black accent really is repeated around the vehicle, around the fog lights, and really sweeping down the side in certain areas. Now, even better is this carbon fiber that we saw on the side. Comes up front, nice overhang, and again, low stance to the ground. Finer details is what this car is all about, so diving in just a little bit closer right here. Headlights are really coming of age, really right through here. Nice, huge lens sweeping down the fender. Now, this isn't nothing new. A lot of vehicles are doing this, but it sets the whole front end. Now, the hood matches it, sweeping down just the same. We'll look at another accent right there. But looking at the headlight, it's no longer just typical cylinder shape. A lot of sculpting in here and nice LED accent right here. The fog lights tucked down low and again adorned in this black, really setting this vehicle off, specifically with the matte and the black contrast. At first glance, you may miss some of the finer details really right here on the hood. A lot of ridges right through here, raised portions, and again, a little bit of dip up here. Now, there's no real curves on this vehicle. Everything has a fine edge to it because you don't want this vehicle to look voluptuous. You want it to look a little bit more menacing, even right below the headlights where it's even chiseled out to add a little bit more flair. The best thing about the Veloster is really the fluid architecture that flows around the entire vehicle. The headlights really sweeping into the fender lines all the way down the side, nice chiseled lines. Even the mirrors really matching the whole body. The black accents all the way around. Now, that's nothing new in the whole market. Every vehicle does this quite well. I think the Veloster does it even better. Now, again, on the driver's side, the two-door architecture I talked about, typical coupe styling, and pretty much this is what any hatchback is going to deliver, 2 doors. But they do it even better. They add that third, which I'll show you in just a second. Now, as you sweep down, again, menacing, eye-piercing. Everything really just fits. Now, what I like on this vehicle comes right down even to the gas cap. It is nice and locked, giving this vehicle a lot of security even at the fill-up area. Now, where you're going to access this, it's not by unlocking it. It's not going to pop it. Unfortunately, there is a little pull handle in here. Really not that big a deal because I just like the way this vehicle works all the way down to this simplicity. Anytime you talk about one side of the vehicle and you swing around to the other, heck, it should be a mirror image, but not here on the Veloster. This is where the third door architecture really comes into play, where this typical 2-door coupe styling has easier access, and it all starts right here at the third door. Now the third door is not small, it doesn't swing backwards, it's not awkward, it gives you great access in an area where you typically wouldn't have it. Even better, they continue the overall flow, really bringing the black accents back here, nice bigger size window, and even better, a nice door handle positioned up high. On some vehicles, you can look at the back end and realize, heck, that must have been an afterthought because designers, heck, they just gave up. But not here on the Veloster. They truly took the artistic brush from front to end and really all culminates back here. Nice rear spoiler and kind of this split back glass. That's going to give you nice kind of illumination into the vehicle, of course, but good view out the back end. Even better with the backup is, of course, the camera. It's going to give you a nice view. Now what you're going to see is, again, that chiseled to perfection. Everywhere you look, there's a sculpted line. Nothing straight on this vehicle, no flat sheet metal anywhere. Continuing on all the way down, it's matching black accents, kind of mimicking the front end. On a vehicle like this, you definitely want to have horsepower to match. Now the standard is going to be a 1.6 liter inline 4-cylinder engine. Now it delivers around about 132 horses, not too bad. But what we did here on this particular model increases it with the turbocharger. Now it's going to take horsepower to around about 201 horses and definitely give you a lot more boot, scoot, and boogie. Now the engine is coupled with a 6-speed manual transmission. Swing around to the cargo area. This vehicle, having the 3 doors and this rear hatch, really delivers a lot of interior volume. Now the first thing to talk about really is the split glass I mentioned earlier. Now it has great defrost, really clears off the window, and I like the fact it has a little small windshield wiper. In the rain, this will collect a little bit of mildew, wipe it off real easy. Now diving into the cargo area, what you're going to notice is this has decent space. Now with the seats in place, around about 15.5 cubic feet, not too bad, rivals actually a full-size sedan. Now with all the seats folded flat, that's easily going to more than double. Now diving into this a little bit better, what you're going to notice is this is really deep. Now what's great about that is you can stack items in here. We put a lot of TV and audio gear in here and actually filled up quite high. Now with this huge hatch, it's actually angled just a bit, really giving you a lot of height when you put items in here. Now it does have this tonneau cover, it really helps with security, but of course it can be removed. Once you do that, this is really one huge cavern to hold a lot of stuff. The third door is really where it's at. Now this is going to grant you a lot of access that otherwise a hatch is not going to have. Now seating back here, only for 2, split by kind of a center console with dual cup holders. Now there is no flip armrest, but who cares in a small vehicle like this. Now to flip these down, again, this is going to take the area for people into cargo, really made easy, tumble it forward. Now one thing to note in a vehicle like this, the headrests are of course going to have to come out before it truly lays flat. Once you're inside the vehicle, you're going to find that the rally isn't just on the outside, but right here where the seats are. Nice bucket seats holding you in tight. Now what's great is that's going to come in handy, of course, if you want to sling this around the S turns. Now what you're looking at for legroom numbers, around about 43 inches up front. In the back, a little bit tighter, about 31. Now that's to be expected, but there is just enough room up front that you can move these front seats forward, give them a little bit more room in the back. For this young hip car, you got to have an equal to match entertainment system. It starts right here on the dash. Nice buttons on the sides, quick reference, and pretty much touchscreen system all the way through. Now down below is smaller knobs for tuning and volume select. Pretty much this whole orientation, real simple. For young drivers, one thing I like to do is minimize distraction, and the way they do it is right here in the climate controls, keeping everything nice and centered with one pretty much control system. Fan speed and temperature all in the same area. Simple mode select on the side. Way down low on the dash is your connectivity, USB connection, auxiliary jack, and nice power outlets. Now one thing that was surprising was the amount of controls right here on the steering wheel. Everything from your entertainment to your cruise select. Now if you do need to use Bluetooth, you do have the shortcuts for your phone, and of course it streams your music. That does it for this edition of Road Warrior and a test drive behind the wheel of the 2016 Hyundai Veloster Rally Edition. Now what it did is transform this old fogey of me into kind of more of a young spirited person. Heck, I maybe even felt like I had grown a little bit more hair. Now where it delivered, under the hood, and even better, that third door architecture, really allowing this vehicle to feel so much more spacious. Now you can't look past just the exterior. It's got so much design perfection built into it, chiseled right down to the Greek architecture where it must have been inspired from. Now as always, we'd like to thank you for watching this edition of Road Warrior. Keep both hands on the wheel and eyes straight ahead.